Hey, it's Karri Flatla here at Remax Real Estate Lethbridge and KarriFlatla.com for this week's Friday Fire. So, you want to buy a house and we talk on the phone about what that's going to look like and what kind of house you're looking for, house of your dreams, all that good stuff. And I ask you if you're pre-approved. Oh, I'm good. I've been with XYZ Bank for 15 years. I'm good. I've got a good job. Everything's good. That is actually a red flag. And here's why. First of all, pre-approvals are not all the same. And saying the bank knows me, I'm good, I make lots of money, actually has nothing to do with whether or not a lender will give you a mortgage on a house. And here's why. And we've seen this. Actually, we saw one recently. You can make a lot of money, but the bank, before they will underwrite on a mortgage and fund on a property, on that dream home, they need to know certain ratios and they need to verify your cash flow and your ability to service that mortgage. That's what they care about. They don't care if you're a millionaire. If you have too much debt versus what you make every month, and adding a mortgage on top of that debt would put you at risk of defaulting on the mortgage, that's a problem. And there's also all kinds of other paperwork and verification that goes into underwriting on a mortgage. And so here's our advice so you can avoid this, because I'm telling you the collapse rate over financing on real estate deals this year, COVID year 2020, is not on our side of the desk, but out in the market. It is ridiculous and it is preventable. We estimate as many as 1 in 5 real estate deals out there are falling apart, mostly to do with financing, which is 95% preventable, totally preventable. And what happens when you write on a house and you start making plans and you have an accepted offer and you, your family, the seller of that home and their family, realtors, lawyers, bankers, inspectors, all kinds of people, everybody doing a whole lot of work and paperwork to get you into that home. And in the 11th hour, never fails, in the 11th hour is when you find out from the bank, rarely is it a mortgage broker, but from the bank, that, sorry, we've turned you down, you can't get the mortgage. And now you're not going to be able to buy that house, and the seller is not obligated to give you another week or 2 weeks or a month to go figure out where you're going to get a mortgage or how you're going to get a mortgage. So first thing to do is talk to a mortgage broker, even if you think you have a terrific relationship with the bank. Because here's the lesson that we've learned over years and years and hundreds of real estate transactions, is at 5 o'clock on a Friday, no matter how much they say they love you and care about your business, at 5 o'clock on a Friday, nobody's getting back to you about your financing condition on the house of your dreams. You're not getting a phone call back from the person at the bank. And if your condition deadline is 9 o'clock on Friday night, you may not get the house now. So that's really stressful and painful for people to go through that. When you work with a mortgage broker, they only get paid if they get a mortgage for you. Sort of like a realtor only gets paid, usually, if they sell you a house. Now, there's all kinds of business models out there, and we don't need to go into that right now, but generally speaking, realtors work on commission. Commissions are negotiable. There's all kinds of fee structures out there. Don't need to get into that. But mortgage brokers also don't make a living unless they get mortgages approved. That's how it works. Very hard for them to make a living if they don't do that. So they broker mortgages between you, the home buyer, and a lender. And they have access to many, many, many lenders and many different mortgage products. So if one lender won't give you a mortgage, or they won't give you a mortgage at the rate that you want or the terms and conditions you want, maybe another lender will. And a mortgage broker has access to all of that A good mortgage broker will know which lenders are a good fit for you. But here's the other thing that doesn't get talked about, and this did happen recently and it was heartbreaking, is the bank, and it was one of the big banks, said, you're pre-approved, go buy a house. You've got a budget of this much. And the bank didn't ask enough questions. And when you sit down to apply for a mortgage, it's not a matter of saying, I make lots of money and I only have a little bit of credit card debt and I'm good to go. It isn't about that. It's about all of the liabilities of your whole life that could come to the surface when you go to try and pay that mortgage every month. So, for example, maybe you're divorced and maybe you co-signed a big line of credit for an expensive truck 10 years ago. Well, is your name still on that line of credit with the person you're now divorced from or separated from? That's all going to come up in your credit bureau. These things are all going to come to the surface, and if they don't come up right away, they're going to come up when CMHC looks at your file, right? So you need to sit down with a mortgage broker and think long and hard about all of the things that could come up in your credit history that your name might be tied to, because that's a liability, that's a debt. And that all factors into the lens through which underwriters look to see if you qualify for a mortgage. There's a million other things that go into it, but that's a big one. So people have short memories when it comes to their money and their personal life sometimes too. So you could have a whole other life behind you, or that you think is behind you, but your name is all over documents and financial liabilities and instruments. And all of that comes into play when you're applying for a mortgage. And the lender needs to know that. So a good mortgage broker, or a good banker, as it were, should be asking you all of those very personal questions. It's a very personal process, so you need to be prepared to sit down and have those conversations and pull up those documents. And that can be quite a time-consuming process. The time to do that, the time to get those documents in order, the time to have those very upfront conversations about your financing is not after you negotiate an accepted offer on your dream home. It is before. The benefit to you is not just that it'll prevent you from having your heart broken, but you're in a much better negotiating position if you have a thorough professional pre-approval with a mortgage broker before you write an offer. And when I receive an offer, it's the first, or one of the first things that I ask the other real estate agent is, please tell me a story about your buyer's financing and where they are at with that process. Okay, so if you want to enhance your negotiating position as a buyer, do all your financial homework before you go shopping for a home. So that's my 1,272nd pre-approval lecture, but just going another layer deep on why it matters so much and how forthcoming you need to be prepared to be in having some of those tough conversations with a mortgage broker. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime, 382-7335, or visit us at karriflatla.com. Looks like we have a windy but warm weekend here on a Friday night, so make the most of it, stay safe, and we'll see you for next Friday Fire. Take care. Bye-bye.